Hello and welcome back. So we are now going into part 2 of the Justin Baldoni deposition transcript. I'm just going to go straight in and pick up from where I left off yesterday. They were asking, the lawyers were asking about how many screenshots of messages Justin had sent to Mitz Toskovich. And we were going through kind of, as you can see, like 2, yeah, more than 5 probably, and we were getting there now. So I'm just going to continue with that questioning. Shah, Ms. Shah is the attorney for Lively who is doing the questioning at this point. Shapiro is with Baldoni representing him. Okay, so question, more than 15? I don't know. More than 20? I don't know. I want to help you. I genuinely don't know. It's possible it was more than 20? Shapiro objects. That feels like a lot. I don't know. Is it possible it was more than 50? Shapiro objects. I would be very surprised. That's a lot. Does your signal thread with Mitz auto-delete? I don't know. I'm not sure. Have you gone back since this litigation started to look at it to see if it's still there? No. Can you do that during a break? Shapiro objects. Shah then asks, are you going to instruct him not to do that? Shapiro, yes I am. Are you going to follow your counsel's instruction? Justin, I think I am. Are you capable of doing it, if not for your counsel's instruction? I would like to think I am. Other than text with your health coach and text with Dan Saladino, do you recall sending to Mitz screenshots of texts involving anyone else? Not that I can think of. Do you recall sending to Mitz texts of screenshots that had anything to do with Stephanie Jones or Jones Works, or the work that you did with Stephanie Jones or Jones Works? Shapiro objects. There was very little conversation about Stephanie Jones at all during this time. Why is that? Because I don't think she was top of mind. You said that you had either joined or tried to join a men's group that had a Signal group chat. Is that right? Yes. What was that men's group? It was a group put on by a man named John Wineland. And I wasn't able to commit to the men's group, and commitment is a huge part of men's work. So they had added me to the chat, but then I let him know I wasn't able to commit, so then I was not a part of it. Why were you unable to commit? I was making a movie. What movie? It ends with us. You said commitment is a huge part of men's work. What do you mean by that? Men's work is based on agreements, and in order to feel vulnerable enough to show any parts of yourself that over the years you would be embarrassed or ashamed with, or to feel truly vulnerable so that you can do good work and be with other men in a sacred space, there are agreements that have to be made beforehand. Like commitment to show up on time, commitment to, not miss the meetings, commitment that you're able to actually attend the in-person retreat because those agreements create safety. Had you ever done men's work in the past? Yes. How many times? I think it could be considered that some of my daily practice is men's work, so I don't think I have to give you a number. I don't think I can give you a number. Over how many years? My 30s. What is the purpose of the men's work you do? If I were going to distill it, I would attempt to be an open, kind man. Do you think men need to work on that in order to become that way? I think every human does. Then why is it called men's work and not people work? Oh, God. Surely it is so that men do their stuff and women do their stuff. Like, there are differences. Women have different things they may want to work on or just want to be around women. But okay, let's go into why it needs to be this. If we were going to distill it, I would... hold on, sorry. Because I believe I'm not the one who invented or created men's work, but I can give you my opinion if that's okay. Please. I believe that men have to do work with men. I think that integration with men and women is more than likely very tricky. And I think that women do a lot of work with women. And I think that both men and women need safe spaces for healing, which is exactly. Healing what? How much time do you have? Give me the 35-second answer. Healing what collectively? Healing what? What do men and women need to heal from? Sure. Millennia of trauma, abuse, generations and generations of trauma that's been passed down from our families and parents, and interpersonal relationship trauma. I'm assuming that was 35 seconds. Do you have a practice of taking handwritten notes? Shapiro objects. At times. Describe that to me. I've always struggled in school, and sometimes when I'm listening to something, I need to write down. Sometimes it helps me to remember. Do you carry a notebook dedicated to your handwritten notes? Sometimes. Do you carry it everywhere you go? No. Do you only carry it sometimes? I don't have just one. I'm not like a journalist note taker that always walks around with it. No. Did you take handwritten notes in connection with your work on the film It Ends With Us? There were a few days that I did, yes. Only a few days? Yes. Did you take handwritten notes in connection with any of the publicity or other work you did with Jones Works or Stephanie Jones or Jen Abel while she was at Jones Works? No. Have you brought a notebook to take handwritten notes to these depositions? Yes. Which depositions? Blake Lively and Steve Sauerets the other day. Any others? No. Did you take handwritten notes during those depositions? Yes, but for my lawyer. Only for your lawyer? For both of us. Only for you and your lawyer? Yeah, I don't know who else it would be for. Do you still have those handwritten notes? I believe I do. Do you have any handwritten notes in preparation for your deposition? Shapiro objects. I direct you not to answer. It's on the record. What is that? I direct you not to answer. I'm directed not to answer. Can he answer yes or no question? Did he take any handwritten notes in preparation for this deposition? Yes or no? Shapiro says yes, so Justin says yes. How many pages? Shapiro, I'm going to object to this line. This is work product. Are you instructing him not to answer? Yes, I am. Do you still have those handwritten notes? Objection. They were shared with my attorney. So you're saying your attorney has a copy of the handwritten notes? Shapiro objects. I direct you not to answer these questions. My question was, do you still have the handwritten notes? Yes or no? Shapiro, you can answer that yes or no. Justin, yes. Okay, do you keep a diary? I wish I did. God, I wish I did. Is that a no? It's a no. I've wanted to, but Do you have a practice of writing daily affirmations? Objection. Sometimes yes. Do you write daily affirmations? Currently, no. Have you in the past? Yes. Have you in the past year? Possibly. Have you in the past 3 years? Yes. Do any of those daily affirmations bear on or relate to anything having to do with your work in connection with the film It Ends With Us or any publicity work? Shapiro objects. Not unless me saying I'm confident and brave and strong. And I mean, if you think that, it's like those kind of affirmations, yes. When did you first meet Stephanie Jones? I don't remember the year, but 2018, 2019, 2017, it's one of those 3 years. Do you remember when you first started working with Stephanie Jones or Jones Works? I remember the feeling. Are you asking me, do I remember the date, like the dates or the year or... Yes, do you remember when in time? As I sit here, I can't remember the year or when in time. Did you meet Stephanie Jones long in time before you started working with her as a publicist? I believe I was introduced to her and we had a phone call, and I don't know how long after that we started working together. Was it years after the phone call? I wish I could answer. I don't know exactly. Where were you in your career when you started working with Stephanie Jones as a publicist? I was on a TV show called Jane the Virgin. Had you had a publicist before that? Yes. Who was that? I had a few. Oh gosh, the name Sunshine rings a bell, or Sun. My first publicist's name was Siri before phones. I had a few. I'm so sorry. I don't remember the names of the organizations. Why did you switch to Stephanie Jones as your publicist when you were working with her? I heard she was amazing. Oh dear. Well, to be fair, he also heard Blake Lively was amazing, so you know. Who did you hear that from? Yes, who? The person who introduced us said she had a lot of really great clients. Right, okay, that makes more sense. She's got great clients, but she herself is not necessarily great. And you began working with Stephanie Jones as a publicist in your personal capacity at first, right? Yes. As an actor? Yes. And then at some time thereafter, she began also working with Wayfarer Studios. Is that right? When Wayfarer Studios was formed, I was already a client of Stephanie Jones as an actor. And then after Wayfarer Studios was formed, then the company, I believe, started to work with the company. Yeah. Okay. And after Wayfarer Studios was formed, Stephanie Jones worked as a publicist, both for Wayfarer Studios and for your personal publicity moving forward, right? The company did, yeah. The company being Jones Works? Jones Works, yeah. Okay. Did you feel at the time when you began working with Stephanie Jones, were you happy with her work? Shapiro objects. Justin, can you be more specific? Do you feel she was supportive of your career? Yeah. Yeah. Do you think she did good work for you as a publicist? Stephanie was never my personal publicist, so that's hard for me to answer. But I was happy overall with what the company was doing for me. How many times over the years would you say you communicated directly with Stephanie? Over the years? Like, from the time you started working with her to the time you ceased working with her? I mean, we would text. Every once in a while, we would have a phone call. She'd always reach out and congratulate me if there was something going on, or she would send words of encouragement if I was going to do something or if there was press. But I can't give you an exact number. Did you appreciate the words of encouragement when she sent them to you? I did. Did she come to know your family during the time she was working with you? Not intimately, but yeah, she did. Did you ever feel over the years that you were working with her before you began filming It Ends With Us? Did you feel like you generally had a positive relationship with Stephanie Jones? Yeah. Did you feel that she was generally supportive of you in your career? Yeah. Did you feel like she and Jones Works did good work for you as a publicist? I believe they did. Would you agree that she took you on as a client at a relatively early stage in your career? I'm not sure about that one. She had a lot of big name clients then, right? Yeah. And you were relatively earlier in your career at that point than those big name clients, right? Objection. In comparison, yeah. Yeah. From the time you began working with Stephanie Jones up until you began filming It Ends With Us, did you ever have any issue with her? Can you repeat the question? From the time you began working with Stephanie Jones until the time you began filming It Ends With Us, did you ever have any issue with Stephanie Jones? Shapiro objects. I don't recall any issues, like a personal issue, is that what you mean? Or a professional issue? No. Did you ever have any reason to fire her? Shapiro objects. Justin. No, I can remember feeling she didn't have much time for me. But I'm also a realist to know that I'm not The Rock, or, so I understood that I was a client, but that she was having other people manage me and my career. So there were many times when I didn't feel she had time for me and that I was just kind of there. But there was no reason to fire her. No, not at all. During the times when you felt she didn't personally have time for you, were there other publicists at Jones Works that did respond on the day-to-day for your issues? Oh, always. Yeah. At some point in time, the publicist who was most responsible for the day-to-day on your and Wayfarer account at Jonesworks was Jen Abel. Is that right? Yes. Did you work very closely with Jen Abel over that time? I did. Okay. During the time that Jonesworks was your publicist, before the filming of It Ends With Us, did they ever help handle any controversies for you or Wayfarer? Any controversies? Would you help me with controversies? Anything that you would consider to be a crisis? Nothing like that. Nothing that became public. But if there was ever anything that I felt like anxious about, yes. Does that include when you were sued in connection with 5 Feet Apart? Yes. Did you consider that to be a crisis? It felt like a crisis, yeah. Did Stephanie Jones help you in connection with that crisis? There was no PR. It wasn't like a big public thing, but I definitely remember calling her and Jen about it, yeah. Did she recommend a lawyer to you for the lawsuit? I don't remember. She might have. Were there times over the course of your relationship with Stephanie between when you first hired her and when you began filming It Ends With Us that you would request a phone call directly with her to deal with an issue? I don't think I ever had to request. I think I would just call her. Like, it wasn't like a formal process. I would just call her. Okay. And would she be responsive? Yeah, she would always call me back if she didn't answer then. Do you ever recall making a comment to her that you'd never gotten her voicemail? I remember oftentimes telling Stephanie that she needed to take a break because she was always on, and joking with her like, you've got kids, and like, you can only imagine the phone calls and all the people that she was getting. So I could imagine that I made that comment. Do you recall a time when you introduced her to Colleen Hoover? I think I do, actually. What do you recall about that? I didn't until you brought it up. But I recall learning that Colleen Hoover had done like nail polish or something for the book, and I couldn't believe it. And I believe she was getting backlash, which ultimately was terrible for the project we were developing, this movie. Yeah, so the nail polish bombed, but you know, at least it was nail polish and not alcohol. I remember asking Colleen if she had anybody that was helping her make decisions, and she said no. I said, I think you need a publicist, and so I introduced her to Stephanie Jones. Because you believe Stephanie Jones could help her with the publicity issue she was experiencing? I believe that Stephanie could help her in general. I think that to be in the situation that Colleen was in and not have any support or anyone telling you, maybe that's not a good idea. I thought Stephanie could help. And you trusted Stephanie at that time to help, right? Yeah. Do you recall introducing her to Colleen by saying, this is my friend, Stephanie Jones? I'm sure I did. I considered her a friend. Do you recall telling Colleen that Stephanie was Do you recall telling Colleen that Stephanie was a master publicist? I don't, but I could see myself saying that, yeah. Would that have been accurate in terms of your view at the time? Did you think Stephanie was a master publicist? Yeah. Do you recall a time when you learned that Business Insider was planning to publish a negative story about Stephanie Jones? Yeah. So that's just to circle back then. That's quite interesting. Now we know that it sounds like it's probable, but I haven't had any confirmation yet that Stephanie Jones represents Colleen Hoover and did throughout all of this. So there are connections on connections on connections. Interesting. Do you recall a time when you learned that the Business Insider was planning to publish a negative story about Stephanie Jones? Yes. When did you learn that? The year or month or as specific as you can give. I don't know who I learned it from. Who was that? Sorry, no, I know who I learned it from. Who was that? Stephanie Jones. What did she tell you? She told me, I don't remember the exact words, but she was very upset and she FaceTimed me crying and said they trying to ruin her life or something. She was very emotional. I don't remember exact words. Did you feel for her in that situation? Shapiro objects. I did. It was very complicated. Why was it complicated? Because she was my publicist, and I was struggling during that period myself. I didn't have a lot of emotional bandwidth. And while I considered her a friend, I think there are different levels of friendship. And that conversation, it felt like I might not have been the best person for her to be FaceTiming with these feelings. Why? Because I was her client. She was meant to be my publicist, and it was kind of the call. It was the kind of call you might have with a therapist. Did you offer to write her a letter of support to the Business Insider reporter? After she asked me to, I did. And did you, in fact, do that? I did. I would like to hand you a document. We're going to mark this as Exhibit 1, please. I'm just curious. So it sounds like potentially Melissa Nathan and or Jen Abel smeared Stephanie Jones through the Business Insider. Stephanie calls Justin crying, wanting a letter of support for the Business Insider, which he wrote, which sounds very echoey of Blake Lively wanting a letter of support for the PGA. And then both of them, Blake Lively and Stephanie Jones, shit on him from a great height when they've got what they want. Is anyone else seeing similarities here? Or is it just me? For the record, this is a text thread between you and Stephanie Jones dated July 3rd, 2024. I'm not going to go through. I'm not going to read bait stamps. Do you see this? Do you recall this text thread exchange between you and Stephanie Jones? Vaguely, but yes. And you write up at the top, she asks you if you would be open to writing a sentence or two for Business Insider about her and Jones' works. And you respond, hi, Steph. I'm so sorry you're going through this. I'd be happy to. Do you see that? I do. Were you happy to? Oh, what kind of question is this? Were you happy to? Being completely honest, I don't know if I was actually happy to. I think that was what you say, like, I'd be happy to. But you were willing to. Absolutely. And she goes on to describe the types of things that might be appearing in the Business Insider story and the things the reporters were saying when they were calling her clients. Do you see that? Is this paragraph 2? Paragraph 2 through the end of the page. Okay. And do you see at the bottom where she writes and then she reads, also, they wouldn't say a man was aggressive or tough or intense. Those are the words they're using when they call clients. Do you see that? I do see that. Flip page for me. You write, I'm sorry you're going through this. Of course not. It's gendered. Do you see that? I do. What did you mean by it's gendered? I was just, again, I don't remember exactly why I was feeling in this moment. I know I do remember feeling, again, like this to me, it made me uncomfortable. I didn't want to tell her that because she was going through so much. It was interesting to be asked by your publicist whose job it is to handle public relations, to make a public statement for your publicist. I'm just going to read that again because it's actually a really good point. It was interesting to be asked by your publicist whose job it is to handle public relations, to make a public statement for your publicist. So I know I felt uncomfortable. And from what I'm reading, she says they wouldn't say a man was aggressive or tough or intense. So I think I was agreeing with her, trying to make her feel seen by saying, of course not, it's gendered. So I was under the assumption that what she was saying was that the words we use to describe men are not used in the same way to describe women. So I'm assuming that what I meant when I said it's gendered. And that the words being used to describe women, like those that she wrote here, are used negatively, whereas they would not be used negatively against male professionals. Is that what you understand she was saying? Shapiro, objection. I believe that's what she was saying. I'm just not sure I fully agree, but I believe that's what she was saying. Do you not agree with that? Shapiro objects. I think that a man being called aggressive, tough, or intense would also be considered a negative statement. Do you think that the press would write articles about a male CEO being aggressive or intense or tough? Shapiro objection. The same way that they would about a female CEO? Shapiro objection. Justin, I don't believe we can make an absolute statement like that because I've definitely read things where press would say a man was aggressive or tough or intense in a negative way. Do you believe that the press is more apt to write negative articles about a female CEO being aggressive or tough than they are about a male CEO being aggressive or tough? Objection. I want to help you here. I just don't know if we want to debate about gender because I'm not an expert in like how many articles are written from a male or female perspective. I know that I have seen many articles putting down male leaders by using aggressive or tough or intense. And I also know that there are much more male CEOs than female CEOs. So again, I'm not a gender studies major, so I couldn't give you, but what I can say is that oftentimes when a woman will say tough, that I think maybe people aren't as used to it because oftentimes men have been in positions of power. I don't know if that's helpful to you at all. Are we debating whether or not the press is more apt to write negative articles about a female CEO being aggressive or tough than they are to write articles about male CEOs being aggressive or tough? I can see where they're going with this. Like, I suppose a good comparison here would be, and Stephanie Jones has behaved appallingly, but she is a female CEO. But her toughness, her kind of aggressive approach is often kind of described as her being a bit like a bitch, basically. Then you look at someone like Ari Emanuel, a male CEO. When people refer to his kind of aggression, like his toughness in the industry as a leader, as a CEO, it is sort of attributed to success. So I think that's what they're trying to pass out here. Okay. Are we debating whether or not the press is more apt to write negative articles about a female CEO being aggressive or tough than they are to write articles about male CEOs being aggressive or tough? Shapiro objects. I think I've forgotten what we're debating, to be honest with you. I don't blame him. Do you think we're debating anything? It feels like a debate, to be honest. I'm getting that. Like, why are we talking about gender studies and stuff like that? What has this got to do with any of the lawsuits? Shapiro objects. I'm not even sure what your original question was. You used the word gendered. What do you mean by that? You mean, what did I mean when I wrote it? What do you understand the word gendered to mean generally? Something that would be encapsulated by one's gender, maybe a behavior that is used in one way for one gender and another way for another. Is that what you meant when you used it here? When I used it here, I was agreeing with Stephanie Jones because it appears to me that she was needing to vent and share that they were calling her aggressive or tough or intense. And she says here that they wouldn't say a man was aggressive or tough or intense. So I'm just trying to make her feel better. Again, I can't remember exactly what I was feeling, but it looks to me like I'm saying, yeah, of course not. It's gendered. Did you find her to be aggressive or tough or intense? There were times I called her Mama Bear because of her aggression, which I said endearingly, but I didn't know the Stephanie that she was inferring people or accusing her to be. You had not experienced these kinds of things from her yourself? Shapiro objects. No, I hadn't. Did you read the Business Insider article? No. You never read it? No. You don't have a view one way or another as to whether it was fair or unfair? I never read it, so I couldn't. Okay. I'm going to hand you another document. Stenographer says I will take that. What was the exhibit number? This is exhibit 2. The one you have is exhibit 1. Okay. This is going to be Exhibit 2, so we're going to mark for the record Exhibit 2. Justin says thanks. Which is a document. It's a text thread between you and Jamey Heath and Jennifer Abel dated July 3rd, 2024. And there's a bait stamp on it. Do you see that? Uh-huh. This is the same date as the text thread that we were just looking at in Exhibit 1. Uh-huh. Do you recall this text thread? Yes, I do. And in this text thread, you were working through with Jen Abel and Jamey Heath the content of the statement you were going to provide to Business Insider in support of Stephanie. Is that right? Can I refresh my memory for a second and just read it? Please review it. And then Friedman pipes up. Please read the entire document. Justin, thank you. And then Shah asks her to turn to a page, specific page. You will see from a text, you will see a text from you at the top. It's marked 8:10 p.m. where you say, and then she reads, "How's this, Jamey? I made it a little more me. Is this too much?" And then you draft or paste a draft statement below. Do you see that? Uh-huh. Okay. In this statement, you write, "Stephanie has always been an exceptional publicist and member of my brain trust, not just for me personally, but also for my company, Wayfarer Studios." Do you see that? Uh-huh. Was that an accurate statement at the time you wrote it? Yeah, I think it's, to be truly fair, it's a bit of an exaggeration, but still true. Are you in the habit of providing press with statements that are exaggerated? That's a fair question. Shapiro objects, obviously. I would not call it a habit. I was just helping a friend. To help yourself or a friend, do you think that you would provide the press with statements that were exaggerated from the truth? Shapiro objects. I don't think I've provided any statements of like myself. This was a very rare thing for me. In this case, did you provide the press a statement that was exaggerated from the truth? Brain trust, looking back, feels, no, I would say that's okay, actually. Do you? Because I did call on her from time to time. So I would say that I think it's fine. Do you think it's accurate? At the time, I do think it's accurate. Okay. Yeah. Then you go on to say, and then she reads, "She's an incredibly hard worker and she finds a way to be available at all hours of the day and has gone above and beyond to ensure the success of not just me, but my company." Do you see that? I do. Was that a true statement at the time? I believe so. Okay. And then you write, "She has built an amazing team who I also work very closely with and I have never had a moment of hesitation in trusting her." Do you see that? Yes. Was that a true statement at the time? It was. And then you go on to write, and she reads, "Her advice and guidance has always been spot on. I have never personally witnessed her mistreat anyone, and on the contrary, she has always treated me and my team with the utmost respect, like family." Do you see that? I do. Was that an accurate statement at the time? It was. And this, in sum and substance, is similar to the statement that you ultimately did provide to Katie Warren, who was a reporter at Business Insider, right? I would assume so. Okay. Can you pull tab 33, please? Are we done with this one? Yes, you got it. This is going to be marked as Exhibit 3. It's an email from you to Katie Warren and then from Katie Warren to you. Dated July 3rd, 2024 and July 4th, 2024. Do you see that? Do you remember sending this email to Katie Warren? I believe I do. Do you remember her email back to you? I believe I do. All right. And if you read the statement that you sent to Katie Warren, is there anything untrue in the statement? Do you mind if I just read it? Please do. Anything untrue in that statement? No. Okay. And when Katie Warren responds, thank you so much for sending this. Are you free for a quick call sometime today or tomorrow? Do you see that? I do. Did you ever have a call with Katie Warren? I did not. Did you ever respond to this email? I did not. Okay. Did you ever, other than the text thread that we looked at a moment ago in Exhibit 2 between you and Jen Abel and Jamey Heath, did you ever have a phone conversation with Jen Abel about the topic of the Business Insider story? I believe I did. More than one? I don't think so. What do you recall about that phone conversation? I believe Jamey Heath was on the call too. I don't think there was ever a one-on-one call. Okay. What do you recall about that conversation? I recall telling them both I felt uncomfortable being asked to email a reporter directly when I was going through a lot. And I remember Jamey being also effusive about and saying that and agreeing that we should. I wanted to, but I just wasn't. It was just an uncomfortable position to be in because she was my publicist and she was asking me to make a statement for her. And I just remember feeling weird about it. And so this all happened. These emails were going back and forth. This statement for Stephanie all happened like July 3rd, July 4th. It was around that time, which I think is in very close proximity to the PGA requests Blake Lively was making. Okay. I remember Jen saying how much it would mean to Stephanie if I did it. I remember Jen kind of acting more like a publicist in the situation and saying, and yet, if you're not comfortable, you don't have to. But she would really kind of appreciate it if you did. So Jen was kind of serving as my publicist in that moment, because Stephanie in that moment was kind of reaching outside of a publicist, more like, hey, I'm in a crisis, I need help. And then ultimately, I decided to do it for her. I wonder if it's no, never mind. So you expressed to Jen Abel that this made you a little uncomfortable. Jamey Heath and Jen Abel. Jen Abel, yes. But you never expressed that directly to Stephanie Jones, did you? No, I didn't. And Jen Abel told you on the call, if you didn't want to do this, you don't have to do it in sum or substance, right? No, she said only do what you're comfortable with, basically. Again, I don't remember the exact words, but she was leaning more towards it would be really helpful for Stephanie. And also, I think she understood that somebody needed to say to me, like, don't feel pressured. Like, there's other people also giving statements. You understood that there were other clients giving statements in support of Stephanie Jones for that article? Stephanie texted me that others were. Okay. Did your statement ultimately appear in the Business Insider article? As I said, I'd never read it. I don't know. Did there come a time when Jen Abel suggested to you or Jamey Heath that you should withdraw your statement from Katie Warren? Not that I recall. You were never told that there came a time when Jen Abel suggested to Jamey Heath that you should pull back the statement that you sent to Katie Warren? I have no memory of that. Is that something you would have expected Jamey Heath to tell you at the time? Shapiro objects. If that happened, I would assume he would. But you have no memory of ever being told that? No, almost the opposite. Do you know if a decision was ever made by Jamey Heath to keep the statement or to withdraw it? Objection. No, I sent the statement, so I assumed it ended up in the article, or it didn't. I don't know. It didn't end up in the article, by the way. I read it. Okay, if Jen Abel thought that at any point in time that maybe you should withdraw the statement that you sent, would you have expected her to raise that directly with you? Objection. Thinking about that period, no. Jamey was handling a lot of conversations. I think I was finishing. I don't remember what month this was, but I imagine I was finishing or working on the movie, and I oftentimes didn't want to be part of most conversations. Did you generally defer to Jamey Heath to make decisions like this? Yes. Did you generally defer to him? I'm sorry, I need to go back. Decisions like what? For example, like whether or not you should pull a statement in support of Stephanie Jones that you had already sent to a reporter. Shapiro objects. Like I said, I wasn't aware of any of that. I wasn't aware that I was ever going to pull a statement. Okay, did you generally defer to Jamey Heath to make decisions around an interface with publicity matters with your publicity team? Yeah. Yes. Okay. In the period around July, August, September of 2024, when there was quite a bit of press activity around you and the film, did you generally defer to Jamey Heath to handle that with your publicist without you? Shapiro objects. Justin, I think everybody knew at that time that I was going through a lot and that I trusted Jamey to always do what was right. And so yeah, I don't think people were coming directly to me at that time for anything. Do you think it's important to be personally involved in decisions like that? Shapiro objects. Decisions like what? Like what is happening around the publicity of what you might term a crisis in connection with your making of It Ends With Us? Shapiro objects. Well, I remember being involved. I didn't think I said I wasn't involved. Do you remember? If I did, then I misspoke. Do you remember making decisions in connection with that? Shapiro objects. I think you'd need to be more specific on what decisions are. Any decisions. Did you feel like a decision maker, or did you feel like someone else was a decision maker? Shapiro objects. I can't remember many decisions needing to be made at that time, but I know I was doing press in a very difficult period, so I think that there were definitely things that related to maybe business or high-level things that I wasn't involved with, nor did I want to be. Do you think it would have been weird to retract a statement of support that you had previously sent to a reporter? Shapiro objections. I think weird is do you want to maybe ask me with a different word? Would you have been surprised to learn that Jen Abel asked Jamey to retract the statement of support that you sent for Stephanie Jones to the Business Insider reporter? I would be surprised because I don't think or know if she did. Can you pull tab 55, please? So you can go with the evidence. We're going to mark as an exhibit 4 a text conversation between Jen Abel and Jamey Heath dated August 9th, 2024. Can you read through this for me, please? Okay. Have you seen this before? I have not. Were you aware before you just looked at this that this conversation took place? Nope. Do you recall events surrounding a Daily Mail article that was published on the topic of tensions between you and Blake Lively on August 8th, 2024? I don't remember the specifics of it, but I definitely remember that there were articles coming out at that time. And do you remember a big issue around whether or not Stephanie Jones had ever spoken to the Daily Mail around that time? August 8th. Yes, I do. Okay. You see here that Jen texts Jamey a Daily Mail article that says, at least in this version of the web link, it ends Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni feud, right? That's what it says. Okay. And this is right around the time the articles started appearing in the Daily Mail that were kind of first publicizing this alleged feud in traditional media, right? I don't know, but I will take your word for it. I don't know if Daily Mail was the first, or I remember that there were a lot of things happening during that period. And that was a big deal, right? When the press started picking up this alleged feud between you and Blake. Yeah. It was the reason you brought on crisis communications. Because can you ask that question again? Because the press had started picking up and reporting on an alleged feud between you and Blake. Because press was talking about it, yeah, and it was becoming a public crisis. Okay. And then right after Jen sends Jamey that article, she says, just thought about something. Should I try to get Justin's letter removed from Business Insider? Do you see that? I do. Okay. And then she continues to read, I would need to tell her on background that both Justin and Wayfarer have severed ties. Do you see that? I do. Had Justin and Wayfarer severed ties with Jones Works at this point? I have no idea. On August 9th, I don't know. Do you have any idea why Jen Abel would be suggesting to Jamey that you leak on background that Justin and Wayfarer have severed ties with Jones Works? Objection. I remember Jamey sending a text message that he just told me about to Stephanie, basically saying stop. don't make any phone calls, and that if she continued, that we would be leaving. But I don't remember the date of that. I don't remember where this is in that timeline. I would need to see. So I don't know if at this point he had already told her that we were leaving, or I don't know. Jen Abel still worked for Jones Works at this point, right? To my knowledge, yes. Was Jen Abel read in the issue of Wayfarer? Was Jen Abel read in on the issue of Wayfarer and you severing ties with Jones Works by this point? Shapiro objects. Can you say that again? Was Jen Abel read in on the issue of you and Wayfarer potentially severing ties with Jones Works by this point? Objection. Justin. By read in. Was she aware of it? Was she aware of it? I wasn't privy to any of those conversations, so I don't know. Okay. Jen Abel goes on to say, not sure if your lawyers would recommend that, as she would need to print that, and not sure if that would cause any issues. Do you see that? I do. Do you have any idea what that's about? I shouldn't assume, but I imagine it's our lawyers at Wayfarer Studios, our business affairs. But why would it cause issues if a reporter were to print that Wayfarer and you had severed ties with Jones Works at this point? I can't speculate. I'm not part of any of this. You see Jamey Heath writes Grammy Award winner in quotes and then writes dummy. Do you see that? Yes. Is Jones Works a Grammy Award winning publicist? I didn't know publicists could win Grammys. I didn't either, but I'm asking you. Jamey is a Grammy Award winner, and he always says dummy. Like that's a joke. Like we always call each other dummy. So I think maybe, I'm just guessing, he was quoting the way someone described him because he had won a Grammy at one point in a previous career. Okay. But I don't know. Okay. I wasn't on this text chain. Did you know that at the time that Jen Abel was speaking to Katie Warren, the reporter at the Business Insider? Until you said Katie Warren, I didn't even know who she was, so no. Well, you sent your statement in support of Steph to Katie Warren, right? Yeah, but I didn't know what her name was. Okay. Did you have any personal knowledge around this time that Jen Abel was personally speaking to the reporters at Business Insider about the article that came out about Steph? No. Okay, did you have any knowledge at that time that Melissa Nathan was behind the article at the Business Insider that came out about Steph? Shapiro, objection. Justin, what do you mean behind? Was a primary driving force between it getting published and its negative slant? Shapiro, objection. Justin, no. Do you know that today? Shapiro objects. Are you telling me that? I'm asking you if you are aware of that. No. Okay, have you ever heard of that before? Shapiro objects. That she wrote the article? That she planted the article? No, because she was angry at Steph. I'm sorry, Melissa was angry at Steph? Correct. So she planted the article? Yes. No, I did not. No, I didn't know that Melissa at this time. At the time you hired Melissa, did you have any inkling that she was behind the negative article in Business Insider about Steph? Shapiro objects. I just learned about it from you, so no. Okay, is that something you would have wanted to know before you hired her? Shapiro objects. Justin, hold on. Would I have wanted to know that the PR person that I was hiring to handle a crisis had evidently, according to you, not that I don't trust you, written an article about my, at the time, current PR person? I would, yeah. Yes. Okay. Sorry, that was a lot. You listened in on part of Melissa Nathan's deposition, right? Parts. Did you listen in on the part where she and I were discussing her participation in the Business Insider article against Steph? I believe so. I believe I only listened in for the end of one of the days. I don't believe it was with you. But to answer your question, no. And I think at the start of this video, I think I erroneously said that this lawyer is Blake Lively's. It's not. It is Stephanie Jones's and Jones Works. Just to clarify that. Shapiro, do you want to take a break? Justin, in a couple of minutes we can. Shapiro, okay. You've been holding it for long. Shah, we can go ahead. Let me just ask one last question or two last questions, and then we can go ahead and take a lunch break. Justin, sure. You said you recalled a point in time when an issue arose about Stephanie Jones potentially contacting the Daily Mail in this early August time period, and that causing a big issue, right? Shapiro objects. I remember that. I remember, yes. Okay. Up until that point in time, did you feel you still had a friendly relationship with Stephanie Jones? Friendly, yeah. Up until that point in time, did you have any reason to take any issue with anything that Stephanie Jones had done or was doing on your behalf? Shapiro objects. Yeah. What? I remember feeling specifically as it related to the Business Insider article, the phone calls I had with her. I remember feeling like she wasn't personally my person, not as an expert or anything like that. I just remember feeling personally like she seemed off and maybe wasn't of sound mind. Oh. What do you mean when you say she wasn't of sound mind? I remember feeling that she was more worried about her own reputation than what I believed to be her work as a publicist in, I would say, taking care of ours. Do you think there is something unsound of mind to be worried about? Your own reputation as a publicist and your clients' reputations? That's a fair question, but also from the client's perspective, they're paying, tens of thousands of dollars for you to protect their reputation. So, it's Justin's perspective is fair as well. Shapiro objects. No, it was more in the conversations I had with her. She felt different than the previous conversations. Her speech at time was a bit erratic. She was like bouncing back and forth between things. It just felt like any person when you have a relationship with someone and they appeared different than they had the last few years of knowing them. That's what made me not sure. Not sure if she was of sound mind. Not sure if I felt. Let me put it this way. At that point in time, I was grateful that she was not the lead person to represent me personally. Who did you think was the lead person to represent you personally? The person who had been for the last 4 years or so, 3 years? Who was that? Jen Abel. Okay. Do you think that in the time since these lawsuits were filed against you, that you had behaved to anyone differently than you had before? Objection. Yes. Do you think the stress of having this kind of public negative spotlight on you has caused that? Objection. Yes. Do you find it distressing to have negative public articles being written about you? I do. Are you aware of any smear websites or social media accounts that were being published about Stephanie Jones in 2024? Shapiro objects. No. You're not aware of that at all? No. Okay. You are aware of a very negative. I'm sorry, are you saying was I aware or am I aware? Were you aware at the time? No. I mean, I am aware that there was a website that became a whole, I think, part of this case, but I was not aware then. Okay. You weren't aware at the time that you were having these conversations with Stephanie Jones where you have called into question her mental state, that she was dealing with websites and social media handles under the captions of things like Stephanie Jones leaks and Stephanie Jones lies that were peddling a bunch of defamatory, highly negative statements about her. Shapiro objects. I wasn't aware of any of that. Okay, you were aware of a Business Insider article that was being written about her that was highly negative, right? Objection. Again, I don't know what was in it or if it was highly negative, but I know that it upset her a lot. Okay. As someone who now yourself has experienced very negative public media attention, can you understand how her experiencing very negative public or unwarranted media attention might have been distressing to her at the time? Shapiro objects. May I answer without a yes or no? You can answer in whatever way you think is best. If I had a relationship with my doctor who was going to perform surgery on me for the last 5 years and I went in to meet him before surgery and he started acting strange and then I found out that he was being attacked and he had a lot of personal drama, Maybe he was going through a divorce. I wouldn't want him to operate on me because I'm paying for his services. So while I understand, especially the way you're phrasing it now, how emotionally disturbing it was for Stephanie, she was my publicist and I was paying her for her services. Exactly what I just said. And for me, having been through what I've been through the last year, it's the reason why I wouldn't take on any jobs, because I wouldn't be of sound mind to do my job to the best of my ability while dealing with that stress. Are you of sound mind to do your job to the best of your ability to this date? Shapiro objects. I don't think I understand your question. You said you wouldn't be of sound mind to do your job to the best of your ability in the circumstances of what you've been through. Do I understand that? Yes, we just need to define job and then I can agree with you. Well, I'm just using your words. Yeah, so job. So what I'm meaning by job is if I'm being paid for services. Okay. That's the reason that you haven't taken on any jobs since this lawsuit has been pending? Shapiro objects. No, there's not many jobs being offered to me at the moment. Do you feel you are of sound mind? Shapiro objects. When? Now. I don't believe I'm doing a job. I'm just telling the truth. So yes, I do. Did you ever express to Stephanie Jones at the time these sentiments that you were expressing to me now about her mental state or fitness to do her job for you as a publicist? It was my feeling that there would have been, in my opinion, unnecessary and would have caused her more pain. Is that a no? Shapiro objects. That is a no. You didn't fire her at the time because of the sentiments you're expressing to me now, is that right? I didn't personally fire her, no. And Wayfarer did not fire her either as a result of the sentiments you're expressing to me now, is that right? Shapiro objects. No, because Jennifer Abel was our main point of contact, my publicist. Okay, thank you. We can take lunch now. And as we're coming up to nearly an hour, I'm going to stop and go on to part 3.